Hello everybody. So welcome to another stream. So as a quick update as well, a something that I've been working on for the past week or so is getting metahumans inside Unreal and also retargeting it to like I used the advanced locomotion system. So what I did is I managed to retarget it to that. I actually use ALS v3, so it's kind of the older iterations. Things might have changed since with version 4, but right now and it's not entirely perfect, but right now I'm at a point where you can and actually I have one of these things here that I want to remove that will deal damage to the player, so I just need to move it further back a little bit. But yeah, so at the moment here's, I believe this guy is it started off as Omar, I think, from Metahumans, and I've made some changes to him, but here he is. So he's working with ALS animations. His bottom legs are a little stiff. That's the only thing, but everything else has been working pretty good. And so him kind of focusing on you, and of course, the only thing is the kind of the little availability of clothes. But the nice thing about this is that you can the head is a separate skeleton mesh, so I was able to kind of get it on top of this survival character, and it worked somewhat okay. It wasn't perfect, but yeah, hopefully there'll be some more changes that will bring some more clothing items. And so this one, since it has everything that all my other characters have in the level, I can switch his blueprint to something else, and that could be I have a kind of a drunk metahuman. So right now, if I was to jump into game mode, let's see, am I using the right one? Maybe I'm not using the proper oh, maybe I just didn't change it. I thought I did. So let me see. Oh, maybe it didn't get retargeted properly. Let's see. But he should be able to. See if I can use an animation asset to use some of the let's see what's going on. That is a little odd why it wouldn't work properly. I know now. It's actually I've changed it so that he can be drunk. So kind of characters throughout some of the NPCs would be in different could be the ones that you can interact with, or could be just kind of filler assets, so to speak. So right now, if you were to jump into game mode, he should be using a different um, animation. So, and along with that is, you can, if you look closely, he's like moving his lips and also kind of blinking, just somewhat like a drunk person would. So, so right now the stiffness in the legs is, kind of a given. Thinking about drunk people, they seem sometimes like they have stiff legs and they try and like stand up. And so yeah, this guy is depending on the state that I put him in, can either be like this in a drunk state where um, he's playing these. I have 3 animations that I've retargeted to him, and it's kind of in a, not necessarily in a loop, but somewhat of a randomness, with some of them having a better chance of playing versus some of the other ones. So so yeah, there he goes. And so right now he's not interactable. Like I can't do anything with him. But if he's in a active state, or available, sorry, he would pay attention to you, and you'd be able to talk to him. I think right now I don't think I've assigned any dialogues to him. Oh, actually, maybe I did. So so it has a small dialogue, but yeah. So let's take a quick look at it if anyone is interested. So basically what happens is, when I interact with him, let's see, he should be this one. And it should be on, let me see, I believe it's on begin play. There's kind of a lot of stuff in here. Let me take a look at the parent class. Trying to find and show you where I'm setting the different animation blueprints. So let me see, hopefully I can find that. No, and it's actually in construction. So basically I'm setting and I believe that's why I couldn't update it on the base, on the actual object in here, because this one is set in the construction script. So I have a drunk metahuman animation blueprint, and the regular metahuman mannequin blueprint, where he can walk, follow you around, and it's you can interact with him, and there'll be like various dialogues throughout. So let's take a quick look at the drunk metahuman blueprint, which is pretty basic. All that it does is in the drunk state, let's go to the anim graph. So it's just a simple state machine, and within it there's a random sequence player, if you're interested in the node, and that has these 3 different animations, and I believe one of them is the one that kind of he stumbles back, and I don't want that to play as often. So that's the chance to play is 1/4. So basically it's not going to play as often as some of the other ones, or it doesn't have a chance of playing like the other ones. Alright, so let's take a look. That was one of the things that I managed to do the past week, and As far as the breakdown of what needs to be done, especially when you have a metahuman, the one thing that I did run into it, and this is again, it's probably due to me using an older version of ALS, is where this the the skeleton of the metahuman was since it's broken, it's a full skeleton, but the body parts are broken up. So if we were to look at this guy from when you get to metahumans, there's going to be and let me see, where is that in here. So let's take a look. I can't remember where this was. Maybe let's take a look at this Lucian, and I'm gonna filter by skeletal mesh. So as you can see, there's the most important part, of course, is going to be the face mesh. So for Lucian, there he is, and of course, these are all the I mean, this is the more complex of the skeletal meshes involved in metahumans, because it's got all the kind of the facial animations and so on. And I'll show you real quick how I did when he's in a drunk state, to actually have him move just kind of the lips, or close the eyes, because I mean there's quite a few other I think they're called like Morph Shapes or something like that. So here, and you can probably try all these out and see which one is which one's which. So I'm gonna hide the hierarchy here. See if I can zoom in a little bit. And of course, you have, let's see, which one would be eyes relax, lower lid, look up. It's probably not that one. I mean, I'm not even sure how many. Looks like hundreds. And luckily I was able to find the one that's and let's take a look at the drunk. Let's see, where's that? The drunk. So what I did is I checked the basic one that comes with metahumans, and within that, and let me see if I can remember where that was set. So and I'm actually not in the right one. So as I was mentioning, there's like the face as well. So this one has its own little animation blueprint. So if we were to look in this one, it has some basic controls over the kind of the facial motions. So opening mouth and closing eyes, and if you look at them, so one of them is going to be like mouth closed, and then teeth controls. So what I did is so one of them would be this expression jaw open, and then eyes blink, like right, and I'm not even sure why I kept this in there, but it's got an alpha blend of 0, so it's not going to affect it at all. So basically what I'm doing is, I think I'm mostly affecting the right eye from the looks of things. And so what I'm doing is, let's take a look at the event graph real quick, how I'm passing these values to on somewhat random fashion to open and close mouth. So let's take a look at an initialize animation. So in here, I am first setting the my ALS metahuman base class, which is, I'm setting that to a local variable here. So that way in my anim graph I can grab this open mouth variable and the eye blink variable. And so to set those, I'm actually setting them in my character class. And in here, let's quickly take a look at the event graph. And I'm not doing it in an event tick. Let's see, where was I? Where did I add this? So what I did is I added a timeline. But where did I put it? Hopefully I can remember where it was. Oh, there we go. So it's actually right on begin play, and it's being applied if it's in a drunk state. I'm changing the animation instance class, and then I'm adding this this timeline where it's pretty basic timeline that loops around. So it's got a little bit of a sine curve to it, so it kind of applies, opening and closing. So from kind of bouncing from 1 to 0, and so that's being put into open mouth and eye blink, and since it's in a loop fashion, it's going to keep pushing those values in a loop fashion over here. So my ALS meta character is going to grab the open mouth and the eye blink, and it's just going to kind of look like like opening and closing his mouth, so just kind of a babble, like a drunken babble, so to speak. And that's how I make his, like if I said, earlier, let's take a look. So I'm going to put him in a drunk state, and so yeah, if we look at his, he looks like he's, droning on about, just yapping about something, and just kind of his eyes glaring over. So it looks slightly like a drunk person, plus the body movements where he's like arguing with something. So yeah, that's how I did the opening and so the jaw open and eye blinking. So and then this, everything else is the basic face anim BP that comes with a metahuman. So everything else is pretty straightforward. There's probably quite a bit more to control. As you can see, there's kind of recording facial animation via an iPhone. That'd be probably even better. But not having one, this should do just fine. And even for some basic dialogues, I think it could it could have some decent look. And we can try that real quick. That was one of my plans to do today, was to when a dialogue is provided, I can try and actually have him kind of open his mouth while he's talking to you. So we'll see how that turns out. I'll take a look. So I'm gonna put him into an available state, and let's change his character name to, maybe call him Joe. And let's see, list of dialogues. I'm gonna do, I have some shorter ones, and on top of that, it would have to have the actual vocal recording, right, of the chat that you're having. So let me see one of them that could be simpler to kind of mimic the. Okay, I think this could be something pretty simple. I was thinking of recording my own voice, and see how that will. Maybe we'll try that to see how that works. Just to show you a little bit of what I use to record record audio, or just kind of edit audio. Well, so I think this should work. It's a pretty simple dialog. I can remember, I know this one, I was using the name for something. This has been a while since I've touched this, but let's see. So it's going to be a two-way convo. Alright, let's see how it reacts. Oh, and I need to actually just select the viewport. Alright, so at this point, and yeah, I think there's no point in having a two-way convo because this ends right after the first conversation. And so let's kind of, once we go into dialogue and he's about to talk, let's see if we can get him to move his lips. And that's what we're gonna do. So, and right now it's just gonna be pretty basic. I mean, I think there's a lot of games out there that use it. It's not perfect lip syncing kind of thing. It's just, I would assume it's at a random level. There might be some, I think there might be some letters or the pronunciation of some letters that might be more obvious, but again, it should be fine, I think. Okay, so let's go back into his blueprint, and I'm trying to remember the dialogue. If it was in a dialogue component that this was initiated at. So let me take a look at that real quick. So there's a few, and this one is also something. This is a plugin off of the, I believe it's a plugin, or yeah, that I've updated so that it allows me to do some extra things with it, and as far as the dialogue data goes. Okay, so at this point, let's see where we initially initialize the dialogue. Trying to remember where this was at. Hopefully I can without having too much of a dead time. Let's see, so it's getting the dialogue data. Getting the dialogue data. So I'm trying to figure out what triggers the dialogue. So it's on interact. So once I interact with this this actor right here, if he's active, he's going to initialize the dialogue. So I think at this point I could potentially start getting him to talk. And once the dialogue ends, at that point I can so initialize dialogue. This is where it starts. It's going to create whichever dialogue I have in the list. Getting the dialogue data, creating the widget, adding it to viewport, and at that point, until you exit, you have to go through the dialogue. So this could also be a good location so that I don't add that stuff onto there. Let's kind of split these around a little bit just to clean it up, I hope. So yeah, at this point, I should be actually iterating through the dialog list, but unfortunately I was just kind of prototyping this, and I was just getting the first dialog and, you know, okay, go with it. And then I guess the second one, so I only made it available for the first and the second dialogues at this point, at this moment. So yeah, I'm gonna need to improve this a little bit so that it actually works off the list, and hopefully the dialogues are gonna pass information between each other, so that that it knows that, okay, I'll have the first dialogue, I'm not gonna have that again, and I'm gonna go into the second one. Okay. So yeah, let's see. Once I initialize the dialog, yeah, so this is, I guess, a to-do stuff that I have on here. So at this point, it's going to get the dialog data. And add that to viewport. Let's see. I'm going to try and see if this gets triggered, to see if it goes down that branch. Alright, so apparently it's not that one, so let me go further back then. So I'm gonna try and see if I can trigger this one here. Alright, so that gets triggered. Let's see, I can remember, I think this was F10 or F9. Maybe, I think it's F10. Alright, so it's getting the dialog data, which is the first one that I have in the list. And since it hasn't been spoken before, it's gonna go into it's gonna check to see if it's a two-way convo, and right now it is. It's gonna add it to viewport. Alright, so it's gonna end up here because I've set it as a two-way convo for that dialog. So it's gonna end up into setting the ls stance, in my case, to standing, and then the dialog can be carried on. So it looks like right here is where I can add that, and let's exit. So I can add the let's see, where did I put it? It was in begin play, right here. So I can add the timeline to get him to open mouth. And I'm not going to do the eye blink just yet. That could take a little bit of practice, especially if I can't record facial animations at the moment. But if I can get the mouth to move a little bit, it should give a little bit more of a interactivity. So I'm going to do a play, and that's going to be open mouth. And at this point, what I need to do is when it ends, I need to end it. But first, let's try this out and see if he's gonna start kind of opening his mouth. Alright, I'm gonna skip that. Alright, there you go. That was pretty good. It's definitely not anything realistic, but it's it's better than nothing. So what I need to do next is actually end the chatting and or just the mouth opening. So let's take a quick look at this, and at this point I think what's gonna need to happen is so that's going to be a recording, like a voice recording, and I need to see if I can get the length of that, and when that's over, you know, at that point you would just stop the timeline. Let's see if I can just move these over here a little bit, clear a little bit of space maybe. Okay, so now that we started this one, let's figure out, I mean, at this point there's also going to be kind of the voice, the recording would have to start playing. And let's see, where do we want to trigger that? I'm wondering if it should be in the I'm thinking it could be done via the create dialog widget. So basically this is how it looks from the get-go, and on construct that gets added. But we do need to have this is not going to work so well. So the nice thing about this add-on, this plugin, is that all the dialogues, and so let's take a look at my guy here. All these dialogues, they have the power to send events. So at this point, when this gets triggered, this node, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a an event of you know, starting the dialogue, and I believe that could be added here as well. The only thing is I don't know how it's gonna get how it's gonna trigger the ending of the mouth moving, right? So, and that's why I think with if this is triggered by an event, the event could keep track of how much time has passed, and then end the dialogue. But and I haven't actually tested that. So let's see if we add an event. I know I've added already a few events to this, but I'm trying to figure out, like for example this one here, it's got a few events. So but the only thing is I'm not sure if they get triggered when the dialogue would end, or when you click "Thank you, Jim," you know, or you know, click through the dialogue on your last response. And so that's why I can't really. Let's take a quick look at this. I wish wish you could like navigate to the location, but apparently not really. So let me see, where do I have the dialogues? Is it assets, dialogue? Not there. Oh, there we have it. So show in folder view. Alright, so this is so there is an event, receive event triggered, and that's the only that's my only issue, is that let's see, was there any other events that were implemented? That's just animation events. I think this might be, I don't think there's another event that gets triggered in here. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, is in my let's go back to the dialogue. So in the first section here is I'm gonna be creating another event. So I'm just gonna duplicate the one that we just looked at. So dialogue, stop talking. And the nice thing about some of these, if I recall correctly, is that you can pass some variables to them. So let's take a look. So I've duplicated that event, and let's see if I pass a let's see, what would that be called? Voice length or voice duration? Yeah, let's do that, voice duration for now. And I'm gonna make that a float. So let's give it maybe a couple of seconds just to give it a try. And I'll take a look and see if in here I can do the stop talking. And so I have a voice duration of 2 seconds. So now, depending on the length of my little dialogue, I can set that 2, 3, you know, whatever. So let's take a look at and see if I can actually stop that timeline. So our NPC actor is going to be NPC friendly interactive. And what I need to do is, actually this one should have been implemented into the parent class, but I think since these dialogues are only going to be on these kind of highly detailed metahumans they're going to interact with, I can in my dialogue events actually change this to, I'm gonna cast, and I'm actually hoping that I couldn't remember if hopefully, yeah, this is just an actor, which is good. So I'm gonna cast to ALS metahuman. So and that way I can call an event within my metahuman to get him to stop the dialogue. So I'm going to add here a custom event stop, call it stop talking for now. So that's going to be calling a stop on my timeline. Alright, so compiling this, and then this one, hopefully it's going to have that available. Stop talking. There we go. And actually, this should take into account the voice duration. So let's do get voice duration, and there's going to be a, I'm going to do can't remember. I think I can do a delay in here, so I'm gonna delay this by the length of the voice duration, which is, I'm gonna call it 2 seconds for now. So now, hopefully, this guy, after 2 seconds, his lips are gonna stop moving. Alright, so da 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 da. Oh, I think that looks good. Thank you, Jim. Let's see if I chat with him again. It should have been Joe, not Jim, but yeah. Okay, I think that might. Let's see if I extend that duration to more than 2 seconds. And that should be in my dialogue. So right there, let's make it 4. I want to see that if that value is actually taken into account properly. Hey, it looks like it. That's good. So the only thing that I should see if it's possible to do, and yeah, so this is the option to do not repeat. So let's try that again. If we were to go to him a second time, he should not be chatting us up again. Thank you. Oh, but that doesn't really work properly. Oh, there's something to fix there, I guess. So we have some lip movement. Maybe I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to think of how do people blink when they talk to each other. So that could be something to add to my timeline here, or as a separate timeline where I'm doing the eyes, so the eye blinking. And this one, you know, it kind of looks semi far from realistic anyways. I mean, there is, it's not like a telepathy kind of thing, but I think when it comes to blinking, there's I'm gonna try and duplicate it. So this one I'm gonna try and rename this to call it talking, and then a second one and this one should probably be on begin play, because you know we keep blinking either way. And let's see, which one was the variable eye blink. So set eye blink, so blinking, and on update we setting it variable. I'm gonna update that new track so it says it's not called new track. It's I'm gonna call it talking track maybe. And then this one blinking track. Okay. Now let's think about this. How often do humans blink? Let's do some searching, I guess. How often do humans blink? Alright, so 15 to 20 times per minute. So I think 15 times should do the trick. that means every 4 seconds. So I'm gonna start by doing this a length of 4, and since the blink is gonna be pretty pretty abrupt, right? It's a pretty kind of a there's no kind of build up time, so it should be quite instantaneous. So I'm gonna set this to the time is gonna be 4, and the value is gonna be straight to 1. So this one I'm gonna try and get it to maybe that point there. Okay, we'll give that a try and see if he can blink. Alright, so back into the event graph. I'm gonna be moving this up to well, I'm actually wondering if this should play continuously. It shouldn't hurt, but I'm probably gonna do it when you enter his basically when you enter his trigger mesh, so where he's like, you know, focusing on you basically. I think that should be a good place to put it. And so let's take a look at the viewport. I'm thinking putting it right inside here in the interaction sphere. That let's see, how far away do you have to be to notice? So I think from here, I guess you can kind of tell if he's blinking or not, but alright, so about there he's looking at you, so I think it can be done at that point. Let's see how that looks. So in my metahuman, I'm gonna look at this and component begin overlap. The only thing is that this one is also implemented in my parent. So here's the parent class, and I have the interaction sphere, and I'm not entirely sure if you can do a component begin overlap from parent. Let's take a look if I can get the parent of this. Or no, should be, yeah, you can't add call to a parent function on this one. So let's see, maybe what I could do is add a custom event, and that's going to be implemented based on each one of so add custom event, and calling this children custom action maybe. And so this one is not going to do anything, but in my set focus I'm going to be doing a calling on that children custom action. I'm going to compile it, and in my human, I mean the metahuman, see if we can implement that custom event. Alright, where were we at? Let's see, it could be right around dialog initiation, so I'm going to call this custom or children custom event, I think I call it. Custom action. Nope, I want to get the event. Custom action, so in here I'm gonna start the blinking Oh, and where did I put it? Right there. And you know, this one could be actually named something better, and that would be overlap, begin overlap custom action. So it's going to be a long name, begin overlap custom action. Okay, and then once the other one is going to be end overlap, where we're going to end that that blinking. So there's less things that need to be done on the anim blueprint side as well. But first, let's test it out. See if we can get this guy to blink. I'm hoping I have everything tied into. Well, there he goes. It looks like he's got a twitch, but he is blinking. Wow, that looks so bad. Well, the reason for that is that you know, there's the build up, and I'm trying to think of a way to do the to do this, but without that kind of odd looking thing there. And I'm thinking, let's see if we add another key, and let's make these auto, not be auto. So then this one is going to be at 3.95, and the value is also going to be 0. So hopefully it just jumps from that to that. Oh, and yeah, so the other thing that I need to do is, let's call this to be a 4.2 length, and then from here add another key and linear. So that way he closes his eyes, or opens and closes them, or closes them and opens them, basically doing a blink. Let's do 4.2, and the value is going to be 0. And let's undo this as linear. Okay, there we go. So we'll see how that works. All right. There it goes. So we have one eye blinking. Let's do the other one as well, because in my face anim BP I only had the left eye, or actually the eye blink right. So within this modify curve, I'm gonna be let's see, add curve pin, and then let's look for eye blink left. And where is that? Eye blink left. There we go. And set this. Is that the right one? No, that's not the right one. I need to look for expressions. Yeah, there's so many of these that so I'm gonna clear these out. So one of them is gonna be this looking, and then remove the cartilage. I'm not even sure what that does, but yeah, there's so many items in the human face that. Alright, so let's take a look. So they're called control expressions. So control expressions, eye blink R, eye blink left. I think it might be this one. I don't see any other ones. There we go. And then the alpha should be set to 1. So okay, he's focused on you, and there he goes. He does a little blink. That's pretty nice. And then when you start talking to him, He seems to move his lips and he keeps on blinking. That's good. Now let's just stop that once you exit the his area, so to speak. And I'm gonna go back to NPC, and in here, let's make a little bit more room. Some of these things, as far as focus, I'm not using. Come on. Alright, so when he exits, I'm gonna duplicate this event. Actually, I don't want to duplicate it. Let's add a new event, because that's what I need to do. Add custom event, and we're gonna call this end overlap. So begin overlap, and then end overlap. There we go. So that's the event, and we'll just keep it down here. Let's call this custom events done by class children. Alright, and then we're going to call children and overlap custom action. And back in our ALS, event children and custom action. So I'm going to be calling stop on this timeline. Alright, so now let's see. He should end his blinking once we exit his area. Now we're kind of close up to him, and you know, he's blinking. He's also, you know, focused on us. And once we exit, you know, his focus just resumes somewhere else, and his blinking has stopped as well. And that's what I'm saying. You know, it's kind of far, anyways. Once you get to this point, he's gonna focus on you, and you'll be able to interact. And at that point, you can tell, you can see his face a little bit better, and the fact that he's blinking or not. So I think that looks pretty realistic. Of course, maybe during talking, there could be some like a random float where you'd add an extra blink when he's chatting, and that could be something interesting to add in there. But yeah, I think that that's working out pretty well. So yeah, there we go. That's a little bit of a breakdown of what I'm doing when it comes to dialogues with the NPCs, and using this dialog plugin. If you look it up on the marketplace, I believe, let's take a look. What was the name of it? I think it's called Dialog Plugin or something like that. If anyone is interested. Dialog Plugin. Yeah, there it is. So it's this in here, where by Code Spartan. And yeah, I think this was free for 1 month some time ago, but I think it's definitely worth the money. So there's probably some other plugins as well, but this is the one that I'm using. And again, I was lucky enough to I either got it on I definitely got it on one of the big sales on the marketplace, or even for free for when that it was free that month. So there you have it. This is what I wanted to show you in this stream. I'll try and do another one tomorrow. Maybe that one's going to be focused a little bit on some level design, and we'll, we'll see where it goes. But thank you everybody who that watched this. Hopefully it was something useful, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, take care everybody.